Hey, welcome everybody. It is Rum and Coke Night, although it is in the afternoon, so a little bit early. I probably should, I'm not even in the imaging here. We've got all these lovely people here, and I'm not amongst them. I'm somewhere up in the corner here, that's fine. I'm not really of any importance. I don't even need to be here for this. I don't know why I even show up my own things. But couple things out of the way. First, most importantly, Golden Unicorn is here, and she hasn't been around for a while, and she has a proper internet connection. What is this?
Yes. Yes.
I'm just stunned here. I don't know how to. I have to process. I have to process this. I put myself in the corner.
Process, eh?
Where am I going to put myself? I'm going to put myself in the corner. I'll be underneath you. Can I be underneath you? Do I have your consent to go underneath you?
Yes. We have no consent. See, Steve S.
All right. All right, I'm so small. Okay, take that for what it's worth. I'm like trying to find a place for me here. I don't know where the hell to put myself. My text is all jacked up. All right, whatever. I'll fix that in a few. But
What's going on?
anyways, it is an early Rum and Coke Night. The reason being is that Mikey Famine is going to have a show at 5 o'clock Pacific time, and he has a whole group of people invited for it, and it's going to be awesome. It is on Juneteenth, and so I fully plan to watch that. Now, I do have a special guest that plans to show up here. His name is Vin from Vin and Star, if you guys know him. I talked to him last night on this particular topic. He said he's going to drop by, but I haven't seen him yet. Well, I mean, I talked to him on Twitter a few ago. But anyways, let's get a few things out of the way, like the preliminary stuff, as I fix this text. It is Rum and Coke, so I am having my invisible cup. I am actually having Diet Shasta and Kraken today, right? Cool. And I like my Diet Shasta. I like my diet drinks. So first, how are you all, and what are you all drinking?
It's 10 a.m. here, so I'm just drinking a coffee.
You say that like it matters. I'm not sure that why that's of importance.
Yeah. No, it's not important, but I'm giving you my reasoning why I'm drinking a coffee at the moment. I've got some
okay.
to wrap later.
I gotcha.
But you never know. There might be something in the coffee. Something.
Hey, do your thing, man. It is Rum and Coke night, but you don't have to actually drink. So.
Oh look, Steve is peer pressuring Manya to drink. Oh my.
I'm the one. Yeah, no. Supposedly, I'm the one that corrupted you to begin with, because you never drank years ago. You were a teetotaler. You're also pretty radical, and she was a radical theist.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Mine was a classic case of like when you come out of a religion, you go to the other extreme side. And Steve and crew kind of slowly pulled me back. They were like, "Come on, just rein it in. It's all right. You don't have to give up reasoning and logic."
Somebody in the live chat had asked what how much crack. I don't even know. This wasn't very much, so it's not that much. And it's good. It actually has a nice vanilla flavor to it. But when I have a drink with it, I put in like half a capful. I mean, it's not even a half a shot, so it's like this is when I say it's for flavoring. I know it sounds odd, but it really is just for flavoring. But as I progress throughout the night, maybe I want to have a little bit more. But since it is Rum and Coke, if you want the link to get in, please let me know. I've given it to a bunch of people, but they're running late, which is fine. This is an important topic tonight, but before we get into it, I do have to make a little bit of an announcement that it sucks, and I'm not happy to make it, but unfortunately, I need to do it. We have had a loss in the community, not a death, a mental death, I guess you could say. Yeah. So, unfortunately, Flight to Flat Earth has decided to go the way of the non-critical thinker and throw away our friendship because he decided to believe misinformation rather than come to me directly, like I tell everybody to do. If you want the facts, come to me and be honorable, and I will give the correct information. He decided not to do that, and I can't look past that. That, to me, is a breach of trust. It's not that he has what he says or does or anything like that. It's if you believe things that are absolutely not true, that I can demonstrate not true, and you don't give me the chance to even explain it, and block me, and then hide my replies, and then embrace the people that have been harassing me and those I love, there's no retribution. I mean, there's no, I'm sorry, not retribution. There's no redemption for you. It just doesn't happen. I don't forgive. I'm not Jesus. And I don't have that. I don't have that mindset where I have to forgive people. Certain things are unforgivable to me. Other people have gone that direction. It didn't work out very well for them. And he's more than welcome to it. That's fine. The people that have gone that direction, I don't talk about, so I probably will never mention him again if I don't need to. But I want people to at least know why that I will have absolutely no association with Fight to Flat Earth any longer. I do not find him to be honorable. I question a lot of things he's ever told me, and I'm just not interested in that kind of deception to promote misinformation. And what am I going to do? He could have just came to me. I could have explained things to him, and he would have realized that people were lying to him. But unfortunately, he chose not to. And that is a course that some people have decided. And what are you going to do?
Are you telling me he listened to only one side and then made up their mind?
It doesn't matter. I think that he just cares about his channel. I don't think he cares about the truth. I don't think he cares about what is vertical. I think what matters to him is if people watch by the way, the whole Flat Earth debate stuff came from the Non Sequitur Show. His channel was promoted by the Non Sequitur Show, right?
Yep. How it happened.
What?
She's in the chat. She's like, "What is this? I've been betrayed." I
did not give it. Holy shit! I thought I did. I was wondering where the fuck she was at. I was about to message her. Where the fuck are you? Holy shit! I'm so sorry.
Bring her in, Steve, please.
I'm drunk. You haven't had anything to drink yet. I had one drink. Sorry. My apologies. She's like, "Oh my god, look at Steve." I swear to God, I thought that I gave her the invite. I sent it to a bunch of fucking people, man. I was wondering where she's at. I was about to message her going, "Are you coming in?" I'm so sorry. Please forgive me.
What have you been telling that girl? She lost faith in me.
Oh God, I'm so...
That face, Steve, you're in trouble.
I'm a man. I'm allowed to make these mistakes. Sorry.
I don't know, man.
Chesh, you want to vent, slander me, hate me for the next 5 years, stalk me, and those I care about? Go ahead. I will let you do so.
How dare you start?
What?
How dare you start without me? This is the way you treat women in your life and the people that support you.
See how they turn on you.
Hold on, excuse me. I have to go suck FTFE's dick now. Unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I do apologize. I thought I gave it to you. I gave it to.
I figured.
I gave it to a bunch of people. And I was about to look over and go,
wait, are you telling me that you forgot or just didn't happen to pass me a link, thought you did, and I, like a reasonable adult, made jokes in the live chat instead of waiting 3 months and flipping out at you for not giving me the link to it?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Especially with Cheshire, she's the kind of person who goes, she'd be like, "Oh, you don't even know when it's going to come. You don't know. It'll happen, but it's when you least expect it, Steve." No?
And it's gonna hurt.
Yeah, it's gonna hurt. Exactly.
Have you told the outside? Like, have you shown them that screenshot?
Of what? No, and I put on my Twitter. I retweeted what you had, and I'm not interested in showing it. People can go to my Twitter and see it. The problem is that it doesn't even matter what it is. I expect people in my life that I think are honorable people to have certain amount of level of consideration and mutual respect that I give them. And if they don't reciprocate on that, they're not the kind of people I want to have around, especially
that's fine, but you're talking about, these are the people that we've been kind of having to deal with and talk about recently have been like Team and Fight. Team and Fight are people who demand that people talk to them ahead of time. These are people who demand to have, like, if you're their friend or if you're a decent person, you would reach out to them to find out what's going on before you would make any claims. FTFE has been in calls with you in the past about some of these issues, like Katie and shit, and he has gone on record being like, yeah, no, that's nonsense, that's bullshit, I've seen the stuff, all that, blah, blah, blah. So what does that mean about the Ilya stuff? Yeah. What did he not see? This brings into question pretty much anything he's ever said that he saw. His credibility is just non-existent.
It's non-existent.
I really, really hope, like, the flat Earth community, it actually pulls on these things.
I'd hate to have that come back.
And applies it properly, because I don't think they'll apply it properly. But I mean, at this point, Team and Fight over the past just this month have proven themselves to be exactly the type of people the flat Earth community claimed they were. Absolutely. Lying dipshits.
Yep. And I wouldn't want to say this because I want this on record before somebody makes a stink about it later on. I have talked to Team Skeptic before, and I have told Team Skeptic, look, if I got an issue with you personally, I will come to you directly. And if you noticed, I have not weighed in on that. Well, hang on. I have not weighed in on the Team Skeptic stuff publicly, right? I've been waiting, and I came to you and I've asked you, and I said I want all the information before I go to him directly, because I plan to talk to him directly. Because I told him as an honorable person that had considered him a friend. Who, by the way, I haven't blocked Team Skeptic. I haven't taken no action on that.
I haven't blocked any of them.
Yeah, but you see, I have not taken any action against Team Skeptic. I am waiting to get all the information first, and then I plan to go to him like I told him I would, because I keep my word, and I want to be honorable about it. And when I do that, then I'll go from there. Flat to Flat Earth didn't even give me that respect. And that to me is my line of demarcation between an honorable person and
his
a non-honorable
big thing
person.
about respect with you also like an army tie related to the Navy, that you were both in the Navy, although it was for different countries? There was like a kinsmanship. He liked to say that there was there, and it's like, well, I guess that's just garbage.
Yeah, supposedly. I mean, I think he said it was in the nuclear Navy. Although I do question certain things. And again, I've said this before to people privately. I'm not quite sure he knows what he thinks he knows about nuclear stuff, because it's not matching up to me. But again, I don't know if he has an actual degree or not, and I'm not going to say that he doesn't. But something's amiss. I think this, but he definitely doesn't have the critical thinking skills when he believes people that he knows are completely dishonest, that have been demonstrated to be completely dishonest, and then finds out that they're completely dishonest. Wow, that takes some mental acuity.
Well, okay, so one of my favorite things that I think I saw recently is this tweet came out about Fight doing this shit. But I shit you not, yesterday he was he was on Twitter going back and forth with Nate about Unirock being a liar, and Nate was just throwing throwing Fight right under the bus. And it's like
Hey, real quick. Hey,
it's as if hang on. Like for them, like.
Hang on.
Go on. It's like that rich boyfriend, with subscribers, that you keep going back to.
I just tried to send Dr. Cross the link, and her account got suspended. What up with that?
No.
Did you have shitlords come after you, Dr. Cross? Because that's bullshit.
Wow. Talk about being vindictive.
I don't know if she knows, but I mean, I'm trying to send her the link because we are going to get into the topic of discussion. But on any Rum and Coke Night, we have a preliminary stuff, and then we get into the crux of the matter, right? But
Time Lord says, "Happy 6 days before Kyle goes to jail." Everyone.
Well, at least gets an arrest warrant. He's. But I think I have her email, so let me send her email.
I'm pretty sure Kyle's not gonna go quietly.
Oh my goodness, what is her email? I know
he already hasn't gone quietly, so I'd say you're probably correct about that.
Well, he's not going to show. He's not going to show.
Probably gonna end up on the news. I mean.
Yeah, he's not going to show. He'll get an arrest warrant. We'll have somebody track him down, let the sheriffs know where he's at, and I hope that he resists arrest.
Can we make the bet a little bit more interesting? Because the bet has always been like, will Kyle show up or not show up? I want to up the ante of the bet. Because I'm pretty sure this happened to, was it Pastor Greg Locke? I don't remember who it was. One of them it happened to. And it was like, we're going to vote yes or no. 1 in the chat for yes, 2 in the chat for no. You tell me if you think we're going to get video, like body cam footage of Kyle getting tased.
Oh God. That
one if you think it's gonna happen, 2 if you think it's not gonna happen. 1 for yes, 2 for no.
If I could pin a video, I would.
I want it to happen.
I was a coward.
If I could pin a video, I would pin that
But it's
video.
going to be a 2.
All right,
awesome.
So Dr. Cross, can you email me? Because I know I have your email, but I can't seem to find it. I'll give you the link to get in because I can't do anything on your Twitter, unfortunately. And anybody else who wants the link, please let me know. But yeah, so let's wrap this up. So I'm going to have a drink to the fallen, to fight the flat earth, man. I'm sorry that you decided to throw away your credibility. I'm sorry that you decided to throw away a friendship. I'm surprised that you literally have believed bullshit that has been disproved, that has been shown to be completely in error, and you don't care. And that to me is a sign of a dishonest person. And I'm
a moment of silence.
3 seconds. That's all I can do. All right. All right, so let's talk about the discussion at hand here. And I think this is
damn it, Manya.
Yeah, I saw it.
Manya started drinking now.
No, you missed it, Steve. She counted down the 3 seconds.
Oh.
We were all drinking, and she went.
I did miss that. Sorry. I'm digging the internet. She got an actual camera and mic and set up in the whole 9 yards, man. So, all right. So, again, okay, we got to shift a little bit because we don't have much time. We got to be done because Mikey is having his stream, and I'm not going to step on him because I love Mikey.
Because we love Mikey, yeah.
Who doesn't like Mikey?
Mikey's cool.
I tell you what, man. Mikey's like in the top 3 people. You fuck with him, there will be hell to pay.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, and he don't need to do anything.
Yeah, I don't have to do shit. He'll wreck you.
No, Mikey doesn't either.
Yeah, he don't need to do anything.
All right,
Bitch.
so to give you a little background on this, I was in Vin's chat. Yeah, can you mute somebody? I hear background.
I think
Sorry,
it's.
isn't it?
And so I was in Vin and Story's stream the other day. Well, I was in the live chat, and I love his stuff. If you haven't checked out Vin's channel, go check it out. And he was talking about Juneteenth, which is a holiday now. It's a federal holiday now. It has been signed into law that today is a what is it?
National holiday?
Yes. I have 2 sips of alcohol and see what happens. I just put a capful in here, half a capful. Anyways. But
How big was the cap?
It's not that big. How big was the cap? It's not that big. I put like half a cap in. Mr. President, 20 euros. Thank you, sir. He says this is just the top of the piss. Oh, this is just
to piss off FTFE. I have something nice on me. Smiley face.
Thank you. And you know what? Your support is all that I need to piss off people like Flight to Fat Earth that decides to do certain
the
things
thing
like
is like the reason why I find talking about these kinds of things in some sort of format and showing the screenshots of it is important is because people will behave one way on one platform and another way on another platform, and if you don't kind of like show those correlations, people are just left confused as to like, oh well, what's their problem with this guy now? And it's like, well, 3 days ago over here, and
I totally agree with you, but how about this? Let's save it for Judgment Call on Monday.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Maybe FTFE will grow. Maybe FTFE will grow some balls because he didn't start doing this until after he blocked us. Because it's a little bit.
Can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
If it's going to do the Judgment Call thing,
Yeah.
please have it 2 hours later so I can be home for that.
You know what? If it's okay with Chesh for you, this episode, I'm okay with that.
All right. Yeah, I'm absolutely.
Now
okay
I
with
can't
that. This
change
Monday,
next week.
2 hours later.
Yeah, I can't change next week. Next week we have a very special guest. His name is Ben. You might have heard of him.
Yay! Yay!
So back to the topic at hand here. So Vin was making some brilliant points on this, and of course I have looked into a little bit because I was like, why is there a national holiday for this? Especially when, and I'm just going to put it out there as a completely cisgender, heterosexual, white male, middle America kind of guy. So my opinion means absolutely nothing, but I'm going to give it to you anyways, and I want your guys' opinions from different perspectives. But I don't understand this holiday. It is not the end of slavery. It's not the end of racism. It is not the day so much that the slaves were emancipated, because they weren't actually emancipated during was it 1865, I believe it was the year? I'm not really specific on details. But the 13th Amendment still allowed for slavery. It still allowed that even after the African Americans were supposedly freed, there was huge amounts of separation on the economic level, the economic and social level. And so there was in the 13th Amendment itself. Hey, Ben, give Richard 1 second. I'm just giving over my 2 cents as a cisgender white male because nobody cares about my opinion, and then I'll get yours. Are you frozen, or are you just really intent? Look at that. He's
reading.
Look at that. He's like deadpan stare. I love. Oh, okay. Ooh, I thought he was frozen.
Doesn't have his headphones on, dude.
Oh.
He can't hear you.
All right.
So when
You can't even hear me. I'll sign from hi.
Jesus Christ, Steve, finish what you're saying.
All right. So, anyways, so now he puts his headphones on. Okay, whatever. So there were some stipulations in the 13th Amendment that allowed for African Americans to be slaved because of things like a vagabond, where they had no home, things like minor petty crimes, things like what was called convict leasing. These things basically it was a symbolic gesture for the emancipation. So I want you guys to explain to me how June whatever they pronounce it, Juneteenth celebrates a goddamn thing. It to me, it makes it sound like, oh, look, racism is over. You know, this was the day that all the blacks got free, when they still suffered from the same bullshit that they always went through. They still were going back into slavery. They're still basically saying,
maybe it marks the beginning of an era, maybe that this is where it all started
but
from.
what a useless symbolic gesture. That has no, Dr. Cross was telling me.
Oh, okay. All right. We have Canada. We have Canada Day because we're our own nation. Do we still have shit that has to go through the Queen? Yeah. So are we really our own nation?
No.
Well, yeah, of course we are.
No,
but it
not.
doesn't
You're
matter
the Queen.
because this is like symbolic nonsense. So it's fine.
You're a monarchy.
Hey, I'm gonna say it like this. My supervisor told our entire shift that it was because everyone deserves 2 hours off.
2 hours.
So we,
What?
2 hours.
hold on, I'm not finished. And because of where I work, it's double pay for me, so I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, but I mean,
I guess I take the extra holiday. Why the hell not?
yeah, but again,
Hey, I go from $14.48 an hour to fucking almost $29 an hour.
The
So
question is, though, is it something that should be celebrated? And like I said, I was
So
listening.
Steve, you think it's something that's kind of like patronizing this, kind of
Absolutely.
like just kind of brushing over a lot of and saying, "Oh, look it, we did all this good stuff for these people, but they didn't actually get any
They
good
didn't
things out of
shit.
it." That's what you're saying?
The government hasn't done a goddamn thing on that. But like I said, I was listening to Vin, and people know
That's the first time I've heard of it. I'm not from your country.
I know. I got Canadians and white people in here that have no idea what the hell I'm talking about right now.
What?
And a New Zealander.
I don't know what theory is.
By the way, I just
Oi,
dodged
I'm
her.
Indian. What
Yeah.
the fuck?
She's in New
I'm
Zealand.
the
Sorry for
brown, the
doxing.
brown. What the fuck?
Well, yeah. Well, I'm not saying there's not others. What are you, colorist? Anyways.
All right, we need to tell
joking,
Vin
I'm
real
joking.
quick. Vin, before you jump in here, Steve has had a whole cap of Kraken put
Not
in
even
his
that. Not even that. I had half a cap.
Too long.
All right, but anyways, like I said, I love Vin's channel, and he just was spot on hitting these points like he masterfully does. And so I invited him on tonight to come and give his perspective, because his perspective matched mine. It wasn't like I was listening going, yeah, he's just making sense. It was, oh, shit, I was thinking the same thing, and at least somebody sees it the same way. So hopefully he might still agree with me on that. And but anyways, Vin, welcome, man. It's been a while. I love
man.
seeing you.
Yeah. What's up, everybody? Yeah,
Yo,
I'm always that guy in my crew that rains on everybody's parade.
You're a Debbie Downer.
Yeah.
Do you pull the listen, I don't mean to be the bearer of bad news, but
Right. And immediately when I start saying that, they're like, "Oh, fuck this guy." So, and it usually happens when, we were supposed to celebrate because Kamala Harris is a black vice president. She's a woman of color, blah, blah, blah. So we were supposed to celebrate that. I shot a video to my daughter, something like what I'm going to tell my black daughter about Kamala Harris. And of course, Kamala Harris has had a horrific relationship with the African-American community in concert with the prison industrial complex. So,
yep.
And not
like
just
a lot
the
of
stuff,
Democrats.
yeah, 100%, right? Biden, I mean, good night. But the major stuff that Tulsi took her down about, we know about. But what a lot of people don't know about is even the petty stuff that she did. So, for example, she really criminalized truancy to the point where you would end up in jail. They put you in jail. And then on top of that, she added a stipulation that if your kid got picked up for truancy, you could get incarcerated as well.
Mm-hmm. Which makes no sense to me whatsoever.
And I talked about how she set up a perp walk. Now, a perp walk is when the DA calls the media and says, we're going to arrest this person at this time. And then they make a show of, walking them into the, Ghislaine Maxwell or whatever. So Kamala perp walks this person, and it's a black woman, single black woman. Her kid was truant from school, wouldn't even let her do her hair or anything. This woman comes out, her hair is all crazy, in her pajamas, behind, handcuffed, and that's Kamala Harris. And so all these things are intentional. So, like, for example, Stacey Abrams, right? Stacey Abrams from Georgia. We all know who she is. She exposed the voter suppression stuff. And I think a lot of us would probably attribute the flipping of Georgia from red to blue. A lot of that would be attributed to Stacey Abrams, right? So if you think about it, and this was a point that I was making when he selected Kamala, there are other Black women that he could have selected, Stacey Abrams being one of the main names on the short list.
Barbara Lee is another one, right? Stacey Abrams is massively popular. Kamala was so unpopular that she had to drop out before the convention hit California because she didn't want to. So what is the logic of selecting her? Well, we know the logic. Stacey Abrams is actually doing something that, Marx talked about, things that are going to actually work in the real world, right? I don't want to drop the Marx thing. I'm reading a lot.
Are you
of
referencing
Marx,
Karl Marx?
Yeah.
Ah, based, comrade.
So, well, what happened is I've got a bunch of, Marxist friends, and I'm like, oh, that's Marxism. They're like, well, what's wrong with Marxism? I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, have you read any Marx? So I've been reading Marx for the last year because
I tell everybody that they should read him. There's a lot of people I know that don't even take him seriously. And I'm just like, you do realize he had a PhD in some sort of like social studies or economics or something, helped develop and hone the field of sociology. He's taken seriously by academics, whether they're Marxist themselves or not. Yeah. Just read his PhD thesis. Everybody says he doesn't understand capitalism. His PhD thesis was on something that, I think it was something by Adam Smith or John Locke or something like that. This guy knew what he was talking about.
You can't be a Marxist if you don't understand capitalism.
Very true.
The only people I know that don't understand capitalism are capitalists, but that's a separate discussion.
Let me point this out real quick. Let me point this out real quick, because the other day Vin had said one of the nicest things I've ever heard anybody on this planet say about me, and I told him I was going to clip it the hell out of it and play it every night just so it makes me feel better with myself after all the crap that I've been through for the last 2 years. However, when we have these types of discussions, and you and somebody like Leo are talking about poli-sci, I literally feel like I'm the dumbest person in the room. Because I have no idea what the fuck you all talk. Actually, I do understand what you're talking about, but it's just I don't know those topics, right? I don't get into Marxism.
You know that
socialism.
Steve's in trouble when he suddenly thinks he's dumber than me in a room,
right? I'm like, oh shit, bail out, man. It's like abort, I'm done. Right? Yeah. So, but no, I love that. I love it because I get to learn that way. But because I know nothing about when it comes to social and anarchy, capitalism, and these kind of things.
I did want to say something to what Vin said. He said that, a lot of these people who proclaim to love the free market and advocate for the free market don't really understand it. That's very true, I think. And I think a good demonstration of that is the fact that so many of the people who claim to love the free market are the very same people who think that simply electing a new president can drastically affect gas prices.
Yeah, Congress.
No, how supply-demand curves work. You're sitting here advocating for free markets and you don't even know how they work.
Before we go too far into economics, because this is a different conversation, I think we were trying to talk about why Kamala Harris was so unpopular, and I think it has a lot to do with a lot of what we see on social media. You see people regularly, if I type something bad about that person, it means I'm helping the problem. So you get to be the laziest, self-righteous person on the planet because you get to feel good about yourself without ever actually doing anything to make anything better.
Which is politics, by the way. And by the way,
politics.
I want to welcome a couple people.
Let me just say, coming from Indian descent, and I know Kamala Harris is also of Indian descent, I know she did some fucked up shit.
She's like, going to your girl's like, I'm not taking her. Yeah. All right, so I wanted to acknowledge some people who have come in. First of all, Vin, your better half has joined. Thank you for that. And also Dr. Cross, who we adore, who I'm a little bit perturbed that she has lost her Twitter for defending herself against racist. I don't understand how Twitter works. I don't understand their policies.
Algorithms.
Well, it seems to be they misapply things. They do the same thing fucking Facebook does. Watch Facebook when, like, for example, somebody will get a threat and somebody will repost that threat, say, look, this person's threatening me, and the person has reposted it gets the ban, but not the person who threatened it.
Yeah, their algorithms are
completely backwards.
That's called bait.
Yeah.
But anyways, please, Vin, continue, and then we'll have other people.
Yeah,
join
I'm
in,
kind of
'cause-
on the clock, but so right, we select Kamala because she's got a decades-long track record of doing destructive things to our community versus Stacey Abrams, who not only has a track record of speaking, but actually doing the work and actioning and getting results, right? And we saw what happened with Georgia. And obviously, I think Stacey still has a great future, politically speaking. But these things are strategically done in our community to give us these metaphorical victories without actually changing the policies at the root of the system, right? So we're gonna let you have Obama, but Obama has to select Biden, who has literally worked with guys that are that moonlight as KKK grand wizards, doesn't want his kid in the racial
Senator, didn't he work with Senator Byrd?
Biden is just Biden is a Republican in a blue suit. That's all he is.
Yeah, but Obama knew
that interrogation he did with the senators of a black woman, have you forgotten that?
Who got the woman who got assaulted? Yeah.
Anita Hill, yeah.
Yeah.
Hill.
That was Thomas Clarence, yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Like,
You mean Clarence Thomas?
Clarence Thomas, yeah. Sorry, I'm dyslexic. But hey,
I
look,
remember watching
Dr.
that.
Cross went on camera for a change. It's a holiday today. See, it's a holiday. She's celebrating. She's going on camera to celebrate.
We out here.
Nice show. I love show.
We out here.
1849.
Gang, gang.
I finally figured out how this works.
She has a PhD, but cameras
I got
are her
another good
bane.
question.
We believe in you.
May I ask what your PhD is in?
Biochemistry, cell and molecular biology.
Fuck
Yeah,
yeah.
she makes us all look like incompetent nitwits, okay? And we're
I
happy
do
for
have a
that.
very, very serious question. How familiar are you with the field of origins of life?
Oh, that's like I wanted to go into like space exploration in that regard, like looking at the biochemical like makers of life,
Astrobiology, stuff like that.
astrobiology. I had thought about doing my PhD in that, and I just went for the regular biochemistry one because I got into my dream school.
Okay. A buddy of mine, he has a channel dedicated to busting creationism and intelligent design, a lot of their biological arguments and arguments from the origins of life. So I didn't know how familiar you were with that particular area. I was going to see if you'd be willing to come on and have a discussion with us
Oh,
sometime.
absolutely. I find it fascinating. So amino acids.
Hey,
I know what
Leo.
those are.
Leo, I don't want to interrupt, but do me a favor. Send me an email, vinantsor@gmail.com.
Okay.
Because I've got a pretty interesting show that'll help boost your channel.
Oh, Vin, by the
Awesome.
way, I have
Vinantsori@gmail, you said?
Yep.
Okay, awesome.
I have had somebody recommend to me. I do reviews, right? And so they had recommended me to do a review of a discussion that you had with the metaphysical Muslim.
Well, yeah, the Muslim metaphysician.
The Muslim metaphysician.
Jake,
Yeah.
I think his
Jake,
name is.
yeah.
I was not.
And then
Now-
the big homie Justin.
Yeah, now I will tell you this, my friend.
I like Justin.
And this is only because of logistics. It's a 2-hour goddamn long video. I'm not doing a 2-hour long review because that would be like 12 days.
The part where I'm in is only the last. It's like 55, 56 minutes.
So I'm going to go through it. I'm going to highlight some portions that I actually found one part already that I really was fascinated by, because you were talking about the ontological and distinctions between the logical distinctions of like the law of identity and how it relates to an ontological commitment rather than opposed to a logical. And I think it was a very fascinating discussion you were having with Jake on that. So I will edit that out and stuff like that and pontificate on that. But I'm not reviewing a 2-hour long video. But yeah, the synchronicity was there that somebody had mentioned you to me, and I just kind of reconnected with you last night after because you were on Over and Under, but it's been, oh my God, that was like last year, wasn't it?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, the world's been a blur because we've been on a recording blitz.
2020 never happened to me. It just.
But I wanna wrap this up. And
yes,
then,
please. I know you're on a time schedule. Go.
And then actually throw this out to Dr. Cross and see her opinion on this. So right, you fine. We'll let you have Obama, but you got to get Biden, who's the architect of the crime bill, which is obviously completely destructive to our community, et cetera, et cetera. So there's all these performative metaphorical victories that never really result in the change of policy. So, for example, we had a supermajority. Obama had a supermajority, and it's a very complex process. Believe me, because I've, maybe we'll have a discussion another time. But I've actually, I almost ended up in the Supreme Court for a case that we had here locally. Right, we had endorsers and everything. And the Supreme Court decided they weren't going to hear the case. But my point is, those cases are not impossible to adjudicate and make happen. Like if we could do it, right? There is why not something to amend the 13th, right? Like take out this language where, hey, we can have slaves as long as they're incarcerated. Why not create a case and a lawsuit over that? Get the Supreme Court and let's get some actual real, the actual elements of when we talk about systemic racism, that's one of them, right? So we never get that. We always get these little bones that get thrown at you. And then the problem is we always settle for it. We settle for it and then we celebrate it and then we make a big deal out of it. And Ben Shapiro and all the rest of them roll their eyes and we get some sort of like little endorphin rush on the Schadenfreude. But nothing actually changes when you actually get down to it. And ironically enough, the only piece of legislation in the last, 10 years that has been aimed at these systemic issues is, in my mind, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, the First Step Act, which was literally the first step to trying to deconstruct Biden's crime bill, which was signed into law by Donald Trump at the behest of Kim and Kanye Kardashian. So, and I remember
America even a real place,
right?
Like, are you real?
It's like you can't write fiction like this, right? But okay, so let Dr. Cross respond on this.
So here's my question, Dr. Cross.
Hi.
So me right now, where I'm at with it, I'm like, man, screw Juneteenth. I don't care about Juneteenth. But then I'm seeing my brothers and sisters posting. They're very, very happy about it. So what would be your advice for still being real about what I think Juneteenth, the motivation for Juneteenth is, while simultaneously not being the guy that rains on everybody's parade?
So I like the points you made, first of all, because I'm from California and I was actually a truant student a lot. And we actually, in my neighborhood, ran Biden's campaign out of our neighborhood from setting up an office. So I live in Leimert Park, California. It's just off Crenshaw. There's a lot of support for Bernie, actually, in our neighborhood.
Bernie would have been fine. I wouldn't have no problem with Bernie.
It's a little different here, but he did come back. And if you remember when Biden gave his little victory speech, he did that here in my neighborhood as well. Like they came back in force with police and the vegans ran up and they did their thing and, got in a fight with Jill or whatever.
Talk about rubbing it in the face, eh?
I mean, it wasn't like, it's symbolic more than anything. The whole Kamala Harris thing. I don't really like her. Not who I would pick, but I'm an anarchist, so I mean, who would I pick? I would pick no one. I would pick no one. As far as Juneteenth goes, I just don't think it should be a holiday for everyone. Not everyone endured chattel slavery, and so it's kind of weird. It's like Cinco de Mayo. I don't put on a sombrero. So there's a disclaimer. I don't want to see blackface. I don't want to see y'all non-black people in dashikis. We don't need you to wear dreadlock wigs or afro wigs.
Wait, you ain't got to worry about that with me. The dashiki thing.
And also, don't end every sentence with yo-yo. That's just please don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
The proper suffix is know what I mean. Know what I mean?
I
That's
even
the
saw
proper
a
self.
local politician who I never
Mhm.
had bad feelings about. She had a Juneteenth thing and she centered literally a non-black person with little black girls around her. And it was like a weird photo for Juneteenth. Like these little black girls are celebrating the non-black person in the middle. What? What's going on?
Oh my God.
So and then you see like the Juneteenth sale. And you're
The
like,
Juneteenth sale. All right, so let me try to expound on this a little bit, Dr. Cross, because I love the way
"Oh,
Vin
not that
put.
kind of holiday.
I love the way
I've
Vin.
always celebrated it before this.
Well,
so,
yeah. Look, I've seen a happy.
you know.
I've seen like Happy
Like
Memorial
Pride.
Day, right? I mean, what the hell does that mean? Happy Memorial Day. What's happy about it? You're celebrating that people had died for our country, right? But
As a military, right? Yeah.
but
What's happy about Memorial Day?
Right. But I love the way
50%
Vin.
off sheep? What?
The way Vin expressed this as a performative. And by the way, I'm getting an echo. Is that from? I don't know who's from.
It's from Dr. Cross. She just needs to mute when she's not.
I'm telling you,
it's because she's on
genius,
headphones.
but audio video. We're gonna help her. We're gonna give her some pointers. But we
Gotta have a headset, bro.
so it's okay. She, you know what? She could do no wrong. So hush.
Yeah, what the
But
hell?
okay. So the way he put this is performative. These are not normative things. These are not regulatory things. These are not preparative things. These are done nothing to do anything. And I don't know why that's a cause for celebration. And Vin pointed out this thing in his stream that really I have been saying for a long time as well, but really would have made something like a difference. When Biden, you know, and Obama could have done this too. A lot of these states are legalizing things like marijuana, which that's your whole, you know, job basically. Your life centers around marijuana. I mean, this is a fact, right?
I'd
This is what
say
you
all
study.
drugs.
Yeah, but you studied cannabis. And so don't you think though?
Hold on. This is information we were not privy to.
This
I'm
truth
an
comes out.
intellectual descendant of Carl Hart.
Oh,
There's a
Ben,
pot
the things I
expert
can
in
tell
here?
you about Dr. Cross. Okay.
Dr. Cross,
Wait,
send
there's
us
a
an
lot of
email,
tobacco.
vince@gmail.com. Continue, Steve.
Yeah, she's an expert. I mean, like legit expert. You know, like I mean, this is her thing. But anyway,
Can you let the expert talk?
all right, so well, I'm asking her a question here. I'm getting there, but we're having fun here. All right, so they could have, because we all know, as Vin pointed out, that there's a huge disproportionate amount of the blacks that have been incarcerated because of marijuana. This is historically factual. This has been about 20% above the white average, if I'm not mistaken, around 19-20%. Now, if they had done something to actually have some effect on somebody in the country, and to say, oh look, they are trying to fix the situation, why have they not released the people that have been incarcerated on those bullshit laws that are no longer in effect?
Well, they also like there's a
money.
Right. There's
Free
two
labor
all
for
about the
Victoria's
money.
Secret.
There's two main things that would be relatively easy. Again, relatively easy. It's politics, so anything is going to be complicated, and changing any laws is going to be complicated. But the two main things that would probably the easiest things to do would be to decriminalize all drugs.
Okay.
And make for-profit prisons illegal.
Well, that's true. No, profit for prisons we've discovered that are privatized. They have a incentive to have a revolving door. They will go out of their way to make sure that you will come back in at some point.
The
Right? It's not
industry
even a
needs to be
recidivism, right?
commodified.
Yeah, it's not I don't know if they factor that in the recidivism rate, but the fact is that people that are out on parole and probation are much more likely, especially African Americans, to end up back in prison over nothing, absolutely nothing, and they find ways to do it because they have an incentive because now it's money based, right?
Yep.
Well, even if it's not for profit, if you go to prison once, you're likely to go back.
That's true, but in this particular case, it's incentivized.
Yeah.
That's much higher in the United States, whereas in other countries, prisoners, there might be some likelihood that they're likely to end up in prison again, more just because of their general behavior. But in other countries, at least a lot of other countries, they do more for rehabilitation.
And with drugs specifically, if you decriminalize drugs and you stop having for-profit prisons and you release the people who are in jail over drugs that are no longer illegal and have been decriminalized, you then have people who are addicted to those drugs not going back to jail because the usage of that drug is not a criminal offense anymore. So it stops those people from cycling through and going back in, because a lot of times people who are arrested for drugs end up back in because they're addicted. So as soon as they're out, they're back on drugs again.
Yeah,
it's almost as if like they don't realize that criminalizing anything. Okay, I get about like stabbing someone.
Prohibition doesn't work. Yeah, prohibition doesn't work.
It doesn't work. They have done that with smoking, like tobacco. They've done that with alcohol, even though, yeah, they can be very addicting and can interfere with your work. They're so addicting. And but with other drugs, they just want to keep them criminalized. And it's almost like they are dumping the responsibility of people getting addicted onto the prisons. You manage these people. We are not going to take any responsibility of how we are, pushing how we are pushing our society towards addiction.
Well, a prison isn't a rehabilitation center, right? It's instead of rehabilitating and investing in people, they're not doing that. They're just isolating them, and then it just goes back in, and then it comes around.
That's my point.
So what does Dr. Cross have to say? 1 sec.
I don't even think I want a policy change. I mean, that would be nice, but they could have just cut the check. They could have cut the check. They could have sent us all a check and been done with it. Nobody got the day off. Yeah. It's not complicated.
I
There's
don't
40
think...
acres and a mule for each of us. It's still here. We're already
wait. I got something for the U.S. citizens here.
Okay, go ahead, Nikki.
What about the supposed ban on menthol cigarettes?
Oh, God, really?
Okay, so that's what I want to talk about. Like, I get it, like decriminalizing drugs. Although, Steve, my real Juneteenth banger was all the dudes are nonviolent offenders that you incarcerated because of marijuana. Not only do you release them, but you set them up with a small business loan so they can open up a dispensary. All the white kids now who are becoming millionaires for doing the same shit brothers were doing a decade ago, right?
And they know the trade, right?
Right. They know the trade. They're already experts. I mean, they're no Dr. Cross.
Well, we already did that with Native Americans.
We tried that in LA. It didn't work.
It's a good theory. It's a good theory.
Being black, it was a mess. The social equity
they were faking being black.
I don't know how to
That's the only time they want to switch sides. Wait a second. It's free weed? Hold on. Wait.
Now I want to make sure. So, Dr. Cross, you did not get your 40 acres and a mule, I assume, then.
That's all I want. I mean, 40
you didn't
acres.
Get that? Because as I understand it,
and half of my family owes it to me.
In the 1860s, give or take. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ben. He's distracted by his wife, and I understand that. But Ben, correct me if I'm wrong, but it isn't around the mid 1800s when the emancipation took place. The slaves were promised monies and lands, but that went to the slave owners.
Yep. Yeah.
Right. Everyone else got reparations too. Japanese Americans got reparations.
The reparations went to
Japanese reparations. Yeah.
The reparations went to the slaveholders during Reconstruction.
Mm-hmm.
Reconstruction.
Yeah. Didn't go to us.
Mishandled funds. I'd like my money.
You Negroes, you keep asking for handouts.
What do you want?
I think
a handout, please.
What more do you want?
Healthcare.
Oh man.
I think the term you guys have been looking for Kamala Harris and your Juneteenth day is called lip service.
I call it virtue signaling. Yeah, because that's what it is.
Well, that's what
I think it did at the height of the George Floyd protests, where they just put on the African garments and kneeled in the Capitol, but didn't actually address any of the systemic issues that we have.
Leo, weren't
in
you
law
moved?
Enforcement in this
country.
country.
Racism is over, Leo?
Leo, weren't you moved to tears?
I did not appreciate seeing Nancy
Mission accomplished.
Dashiki, okay?
I was moved to tears when I saw Nancy and that dashiki. Now look, my wife, guys, you see here, this is Sorry without makeup. She's a supermodel. But let me tell you something. When I saw that Nancy and that dashiki, I don't know, man.
No.
Were you having feelings?
If I may, Jeff, you know what this reminds me of?
2 words. Get help.
They get help.
It reminds me of all this, this lip service reminds me of, when people were like, oh, Wall Street is bad. Oh, Wall Street has stolen on the money. How? What's the problem? Can you please explain to a layman like me, how did they steal my money? Like, tell me what the problem is.
They're not wrong. I mean, that's where they sold slaves.
Putting up a statue
my ancestors.
and I have no idea what's going on.
Because Manya, in America, unfortunately, there's a completely unequitable just lack of distribution of wealth. The wealth in America, it is a true fact that the 1%, the richest people, have 99% of the money. And
and they got there selling slaves.
That on the backs of the plantation owners
and taking the reparations that were supposed to go to you guys.
Cross is like, I at least want the mule, damn it.
I want the damn mule.
Right? Who doesn't want a mule?
Isn't there a politician in the United States that was running that was offering everybody a free pony? Would you accept that?
Yes, Vermin Supreme.
Vermin Supreme.
I had a bad experience with the pony.
Oh my
so
god.
I might pass on that.
It's got to be a mule.
It's got to be a mule.
Vermin Supreme promises anybody a pony if he gets elected.
Oh, Vermin Supreme.
Yeah.
He's a.
He probably got.
He'd have done a better job than Donald Trump. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I admit it. I'll admit to that.
I think it'd be hard pressed to find somebody who would do a worse job.
I could think of a couple of people.
I can think of a couple people too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of them
Ben
were.
Shapiro?
Some of them were in our community at one time.
Oh yeah.
No,
Ben Shapiro was president. Oh my God.
I don't think.
President, he'd be assassinated in like 6 days. Probably not even.
I really don't.
Maybe 2.
Yeah, I
Matt
don't
Walsh
think
is
he would
VP.
be worse because he would just either get like annexed like instantaneously and he'd just be gone immediately and we'd all be better off for it, or he would like he'd be such a limp dick that he would.
Well, he is a limp dick.
But what
Good old
a
Ben
ticket!
Shabooboo.
What a ticket!
I'm not going to go into this.
What a ticket that would be, though. Can you imagine Ben Shapiro with Matt Walsh as a vice president?
Jesus Christ.
And then you could have Steven Pinkerman, and you could throw in maybe like Jeff Gariepy as like their.
Don't even get Gotti up yet.
Jeff Gariepy can be their
Who's his cabinet?
About
yes,
eugenics.
cabinet. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There's not even a cabinet in here.
You know, the problem with the whole federal holiday thing is this is kind of, it's Juneteenth is going to become like Pride, and Pride makes me sad. You know, like now people are debating whether dogs in leathers can attend Pride or if it's inappropriate to wear, you know, kink gear and all this stuff.
They've gotten
I agree. Kink should not be in Pride.
Doesn't Pride celebrate like a choice in a way? So like, if people are wearing kink stuff, what's the problem? They chose to wear it. What the fuck?
It's the fact.
I mean, I've taken kids to Pride at the right age. You explain the right things. I mean, nudity to me isn't.
I don't have a problem with it per se in the right place at the right time.
Like, I never cared about like I was running around in the backyard in my undies.
I just worry with Juneteenth, it's the more corporate thing. We're going to see like Juneteenth logo, Juneteenth this,
Juneteenth Pride.
Like they did with the
everything black's on sale.
Black people buy our products, please.
And
just like we did with Pride Month now, huh?
And
everything's corporate.
And from what I understand, now officially July 4th has been eradicated. Is that right,
Listen,
Dr. Cross?
I thought y'all wanted to be part. I thought the whole gay community wanted to be a part of everybody else and be the same. Congratulations, your parade got turned into corporate capitalism.
Yeah.
You're welcome. You got what you wanted.
You know what's so funny? Over the years, people that used to celebrate diversification because
the Macy's Day Parade,
because diversification was something that we appreciated. We understood that there was differences. There are people. Everybody is different in some ways, and that's great.
Can we have a drug day now?
But instead of celebrating diversification, people want homogenation. People want cookie cutter stuff. They want everybody to be the same and not celebrate the differences and ignore them. And I think that's the opposite of what the original intent of like even second wave feminism was about. And so even me sitting there going, look, I grew up in the 70s and 80s. This is the antithesis of what was the things back then. It's counter to them.
Because there's been a confusion. There's a confusion that people make between being accepted as like a human being and being treated like a human being as you ought to be, and being accepted as in everybody has to like you. You don't.
Sure.
Those aren't the same thing.
No, not as a consumer.
Or like everybody's part of, like everybody's the same, and it's like, well, to a degree, yeah, that's the point, but people are different and it's okay to be different, and you want to be different, and you just want to be accepted for being different. But that's what's changed. It's confusing being accepted although everybody is different, and we are now all the same, and so you have to treat me the exact same way you would treat somebody else, and that's just not necessarily the case, especially when you're talking about who's into what sexually, because that's a whole ball of nonsense.
Sometimes I just don't want to know, but other times I do. But
and sometimes I don't want to know what other people are doing.
You never want. She's like, no, not really.
Not my business.
Where did Win
But
go?
like that's the thing, right? Oh, they had to go. They were on a time.
They were on
crunch.
time crunch. But go check out his channel if you guys haven't checked it out yet. Then it's
But there's
this
this idea that acceptance means that everybody needs to be into the same thing you are, or if you're not into that thing, you haven't accepted people. And it's like, no. I just because I personally have this preference. This is like, I'm going to use like fat acceptance as an example. So just because somebody is bigger, they shouldn't be treated like shit because of it. They're still a human being. That doesn't mean you have to be sexually attracted to them. You can accept them for who they are and treat them like they're a fucking human being, but that doesn't mean you have to fucking like them.
So let me get this straight because I want to make sure everybody's clear on this. Cheshire, because you are so incredibly short, you're just not sexually attracted to me. I'm not attracted to you that way because you're just height challenged. I'm sorry to break it to you, but that's okay, right?
I thought that was because I was still alive and you were only going to have sex with me after I was dead.
No, that was your thing. No, people don't remember that shit, but she was going to put it in her will because, she believes in honor and respect. She's like,
it's not already there.
She's like, Steve has to have sex with me after I die with my dead body, and I'm like, don't I have to consent to this? I'm not into this.
Oh man,
it's a long story.
Brandon's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Can we switch topics?
It's a very long story.
Dr. Cross is like, where the hell did this go?
Where did this come from?
This is why we don't discuss things like that yet.
I mean,
Steve, this is why nobody wants to talk with us. You keep bringing this up every single time. Why
it's disturbing.
Why do you keep bringing up that you're going to have sex with my dead body? Why?
Steve, it's going to be okay. Just stop bringing up necrophilia.
What's that, Nikki?
Hey, man.
It's pride. I accept your kink.
That's not a kink. That's weird. It's like, well, wait a minute. In necrophilia, there's no, who's the harmed agent. I'm like, I still think there's some issues there. I mean, there's some psychological issues there,
agree.
right? Yeah. I mean, that's not a kink. That is just.
Well, there's also like there's a difference between being a kink and being accepted to allow your relationship to be in the public view, which is what a lot of like the LGBTQ community is about. It's about, hey, listen, I should be allowed to be the person if I am. If I want to kiss my boyfriend and I'm a guy, I should be allowed to do that without. There's another step there if you're trying to bring your kink into the public sphere, which is a different conversation. Right now you're talking about taking what you do in private and making it public versus something that was already public for everybody else but not for you, and being like, well, why am I the only one that's not allowed to kiss my boyfriend in public or kiss my girlfriend in public? Right.
You should come to India. The moral policing is like at another level. Like adults are sitting in a park and kissing, so they can get arrested for indecent behavior. Plus, they will say, give your parents' phone number. We are going to contact your parents and shame you. And the adults are like, do you think I'm a teenager or something that you're going to call my parents? I'm a fucking
They probably
adult.
think you're truant. They probably think you're skipping school.
And this fucking case happened, like where a Hindu woman married a Muslim guy, right? And they infantilized that woman so much. Like, for some reason, she didn't have her faculties in order when she fell in love with this guy and she decided to marry him. An adult woman. And she was taken forcibly away from her husband.
So they deemed she was not competent to make that decision on her own.
And I was just like, I was beating my head on the table. I'm just like, this is fucking ridiculous in this day and age. And then, we
all know women aren't competent to make decisions. That's why in the olden days, the women were in charge of all the bookkeeping for the house.
The fathers made the decision. It was the fathers that made the decisions. Right?
Was this in America or?
I feel like Steve kind of just whiffed on what I actually said there.
I don't know anybody that does the books. Dun-dun-dun. Shots fired. But Monty, you're from a culture that has been historically repressive to women, and they're treated as a second class.
Steve, you're white. So are you.
Okay. Not as much as India.
Oh, just as much, just farther ago, just longer ago. Same amount, just a different,
but in America,
longer time period.
Child marriages are still okay as long as the parents give the permission, whereas in India we have banned it completely. So what? I don't know you, Steve. What are you talking about? Who is this guy? I'm bye.
Hey, go to your arranged marriage that you got to go do.
Did your father tell
She's like,
you
but I
you're
can't
allowed
say
to be
no
here?
if I wanted to. Okay, sure.
Dad, can I stay here?
To be fair,
Hey, you're lucky you end up with somebody like Leo.
No. To be fair, it's
do
not
worse.
just a certain country, a couple countries. It's quite a few countries, and some of those countries still practice that shit today.
Yeah.
Well, there's still like plenty of.
Doesn't Japan do that?
It's not
Japan's
like
one of them.
misogyny has gone away. Like that's still a thing. Like we don't have like a Women's Day to be like, hey, we're women, we're allowed to vote now. Ooh.
Yeah, we gave you the right to vote, and look what happened with that.
White House, but yay.
Who was it that said on the non-sequitur show once that we gave it was a flat earther or something, but they said once women got the right to vote, everything was kind of downhill after that. That was the worst mistake America made.
Oh yeah, because men had to share space with women.
I don't remember the
everywhere,
reasoning, but I remember that somebody had said that on the non-sequitur
legislation-wise
show.
and professional, job.
I remember that too, but I can't remember who said it.
Sounds like something. It sounds like something. What's his name? The political candidate would have said. The one that was like, "Oh, let's have all the roads paid for by whom?" I don't know. Kokish, yes, Adam Kokish, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like Adam Kokish.
Oh my God, that guy is.
Saying that taxes were theft.
Hey, look, I'm fine with socialism. I think socialism has been a word that has been dragged through the mud a lot. We have socialized medicine, we have socialized roads. I have no problem with socialism.
There's a lot of socialized programs and advantages that exist in America that are only for corporations.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Corporations get a lot of the loopholes. Sure, absolutely.
I think people are scared of the
Smitty
mouth
brought up a very interesting point in the live chat. I'll try and focus on that. So he said, Shasharvik, the English had to stop Indians from burning wives on their husband's funeral pyre as a regular thing. Let me just say, even a broken clock is correct twice a day. So
actually,
this was all being done to undermine the Indian traditions, and coincidentally, something good came out of it. It wasn't that they were trying to do good from the start. Let's just say that.
Well, I think he's saying that in a response to me saying that Steve also comes from a background that has a history of oppressing women.
I'm not Indian.
The English that. So in response to Smitty,
Scots Irish,
and the Dutch.
Oh, and I'm sure there was definitely no oppression of women in Scotland.
Just eat your potatoes and drink your rum.
Don't run away.
In response to Smitty, I would say you say that like the English weren't burning women at the stake for being witches. Like fuck off.
Doesn't that happen in the puritanical colonies? Wasn't that the English?
The answer is that like every group of people everywhere, somebody's getting oppressed somewhere. Does that mean we shouldn't fight it or be against it? No, of course it doesn't. It just means you have to be vigilant and understand that everybody comes from this kind of background. This isn't something that just happens to one group of people. And if we recognize that everybody it doesn't mean it's the same everywhere. It certainly doesn't mean like the people in this place went through the same hardships as these people, or these people have this kind of history over here. It means that we have to recognize that we're all people and we're all kind of garbage because we're humans. And so it doesn't excuse it. It just means once you're able to recognize it, it makes it a lot easier to start identifying and rectifying the problems.
So do you think that is because of human nature that, and it seems like to me most, if not every single society or culture, always has had some kind of common enemy that they have to rally against, somebody they have to demonize.
Society ignoring their history and ignoring what they've done, or trying to whitewash or change their history to make it seem like something is better than it is, means they're more likely to fool themselves into doing the same thing over again, or continuing to do the problem over and over again.
Well, isn't that kind of what Juneteenth is?
Something else.
Well, if you want to make it about like the Juneteenth and slavery in America, if you try to have a conversation with a white person about slavery and they start getting offended and saying, well, I didn't enslave anybody, I'm not talking about you.
Well, yeah, that
but
just
the
misses the
reason
point.
that we're right, but they're defensive for a reason. And why are they defensive? Well, because your history books are trash and you aren't good at recognizing that these are factual things that happened, and you need to accept that human beings are shit, including your ancestors and my ancestors and their ancestors. Everybody's garbage, and the point is to try and make society better every single time we do it. So stop fucking around and pretending like oh well, I didn't do it, so it's not my problem. Then you fuck off. Stop being dumb. Just address and fix the problem. Stop being offended.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a knee-jerk reaction, or like a Pavlovian response when people say, "Well, I didn't cause that," and that is true. I'm not going to pay for the sins of other people. That doesn't mean I cannot recognize the sins of other people and the ancestry and the forefathers and things of that nature, and try to do better.
Your part to rectify it. Right, exactly.
Right.
It's a matter of like there's a difference between what the word responsibility is in which context. If somebody comes to me and says, "Hey, my people were enslaved by your people," you have a responsibility to make it so that the mistakes they made in the past are no longer affecting my future. Yeah, absolutely, that's fair, because that's basic. Everybody has that kind of responsibility to their other human beings.
Joshua, I'm Jewish. I got you all motherfuckers beat.
I'm never mind.
Kind of true. Yeah.
She's like, goblins have been persecuted since the Doblin time.
I'm gonna get in trouble.
Especially.
But no, I think that's a valid point.
Allegedly, my heritage is allegedly gypsy.
Romanian?
Oh, nice. Wow.
Gypsy.
That could be one of the other things. Oh, we have a special guest that just joined us who's going to have a stream here coming up, and so we are. Hang on. Curb your enthusiasm. I know we all love Mikey.
Crap.
However, he has a stream at 5:00. It's in the video description. I've already put it in there because he's already, set it up. I will be listening to it intently. Anyways, Mikey, buddy, it's good to see you. Are you drinking? Oh, you have to wait.
Can't hear you, Mike.
No audio.
Wait,
hi. Your mic's not working.
How are you?
No, my ASL is trash.
Is that Stella Artois?
That is Stella.
The new Solstice Lager.
Stella
Artois.
I need to get some more Diet Coke.
Wasn't really a fan.
So I just drink my rum
this is
now.
my first sip of it, and I'm feeling kind of short.
All right, since Mikey is here, I'm just going to have straight rum for a few, because we're not going to be on much longer. But anyways, so Mikey, give us a preview of what your show is going to be, because you have a hell of a guest list.
Yeah, there should be a bunch of people there. This is my first annual Juneteenth celebration, entitled Juneteenth, Celebrating Blackness.
It didn't exist last year, so yeah, this would be your first.
Well, I mean, it's been a thing, but I think the first, because Facebook, like usually like the memories or whatever.
Yeah.
So my first Juneteenth memory post was only like 3 years ago. So
let me ask you though, because I haven't really talked to you about this, because it happened on June 19th, I believe, 1965 was Emancipation. Do you really think that it actually
1865?
What was it? Was it
1865?
1865. Okay, yeah, that's right. But do you actually think that?
Damn, America!
Right, exactly.
1865 was Civil Rights Act.
Well, hey, look, I think the last revision on the 13th Amendment was 1992 or something. They did something, but I mean, even in the 13th Amendment, it didn't do shit to abolish slavery, because anybody back then because they would just be found for a petty crime. They were basically, if they had no home and they were vagabonds, there was they'll call the Black Laws. They were sold into, or not sold into, but basically used for what was called convict leasing. And so they said, look, you're all free, but we're going to do everything in our power to put you back into slavery, and use the legal system to do it. Just like we were talking about before you came in, the fact that you have privatized jails, they'll do everything in their power to put somebody who was convicted back into jail, because there's an incentive to do so. Slavery was an incentive back then. It was economically an incentive for people to to say, look, hey, this black person had their freedom. They messed up by committing this very petty crime. Now the law still allowed them to go back into slavery. So what the hell was abolished?
And people wonder how America got to be the economic superpower that it is. Well, when
That's how.
When you get a couple hundred years of free labor, it's real easy to turn
him a leg
yourself
up,
from
right?
just a bunch of pilgrims to I have cars in 300 years.
I mean, don't forget the war shit that they took advantage of.
Well, the Egyptians did, they had slavery too, and look at, they prospered from it. So it is economically.
Are you talking about the Hebrew slaves?
Yes.
Is that like?
It's
no,
not-
that's not. No,
No, there was.
customers
We
of
can
the
go into
Southern
chattel
States.
slavery and Hebrew slavery. There's definitely a correlation.
Well,
there,
no, what I'm talking. Never mind. Different conversation.
All right, but anyways, go ahead.
The thing is that a lot of this Juneteenth stuff and the Kamala Harris stuff seems to me that it is the media trying to play you. The media and politics are trying to. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I just wanted to say Juneteenth has been celebrated for a very long time in Black communities,
Right.
just by Black people,
Which should have been fine.
like in families and stuff. And I've done a lot of probably 10 years of celebrating Juneteenth myself. So I don't want to make Juneteenth, now that it's the federal holiday Juneteenth, like conflate the two. You know what I mean?
Right. So there's like a difference between you guys celebrating what makes complete
within our
sense,
community
and then
and the
what
slavery,
the I think Steve was.
Commercialization of the
I think Steve is talking about the way they're presenting it.
The
not
commercialized
like-
aspect
yeah.
of it.
just clarifying for anyone.
Yeah. So no, it's a good
I
clarification.
agree. Yes, I agree.
It seems to me that the media is just trying to play everybody for whatever they think and kind of twist and turn things in a way that will allow them to garner whatever support they feel like they want or need via money, via voting, via whatever it is. Their goal is a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. But there's also, with stuff like this, there's an opportunity because you guys can use it in your favor to inform people about like what Steve is talking about, how like this didn't actually do anything and these reparations didn't actually go where they were supposed to go. And so you can actually use take the media's momentum and turn it to your favor. So that like as much as it might be a giant pain in the ass, the media is a giant pain in the ass. You can use them to your advantage, and so it's like kind of a give and take if you kind of want to play that game, I guess.
It's kind of like soul food, right? Where they like the slaves were given like the scraps and the worst parts of the cow or the pig or whatever, what may have you, and they would take a lot of this, take a lot of that, add some season to it, and they make it all right. So anything presented is better. Because they weren't doing it before, and at least now, like you're saying, we can spin the narrative, whatever. That's not the issue. I mean, that's easy. You know what I'm saying? That getting people on board now is much easier now, because when you say Juneteenth is a federal holiday, you have to explain what Juneteenth is, or they have to ask themselves what Juneteenth is.
So it opens a dialogue,
Correct.
but again, I think a lot of people don't really know the history behind it, and that aspect, maybe that's beneficial, right? People saying, well, because I'm sure when a lot of people heard Juneteenth, they're like, what the hell is that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Black people, do your best to be patient. Explain several times if you have to.
No, I knew what
throughout
Juneteenth
one
was. It's
day.
Kwanzaa I don't understand. Nobody understands Kwanzaa. Shush, you don't either. She's like, yeah, well, okay, explain Kwanzaa.
Futurama explains it.
Kwanzaa.
Kwanzaa?
No, Kwanzaa.
The principles of Kwanzaa?
Yeah.
Each day is a principle that you're supposed to live up to, and thank your ancestors for
He was a
being
king,
there,
wasn't he?
You know, like Kwanzaa?
I thought that was a king, the celebration of a king. See, I don't know anything about Kwanzaa. I suck.
No. Not at all.
I told you, I'm not kidding. When I said
Typical Europeans, like, so which king?
I at least
like,
admit my
value.
Yes,
the monarchy rears its ugly head yet again.
When Steve says that nobody understands something, it means he's saying that he is completely ignorant to the topic.
That is exactly what it means.
I am the Steve Whisperer.
And not only is that not exactly true, it is I am fine with admitting that. I am one of those people.
Yeah, but you said nobody understands, and you projected that
I
on
projected on
everybody
everybody.
else.
Damn,
Steve will have to come to Kwanzaa.
It's a little hyperbolic there. Why? What do you? What okay. What is something you do want? Do I mean, give me an example. What happens in Kwanzaa?
You light candles for different
We do
values.
that for Hanukkah.
Like
Jews been doing that for
self-determination, community, things that you.
Jews beat you to that.
Huh?
The Jews beat you to that. We've been doing that for thousands of years.
Did you just the Simpsons did it first?
Hanukkah. I remember Hanukkah.
You don't understand Kwanzaa.
Did you?
We can't have nothing. We can't have nothing.
I gotta Google search real quick. When was the first candle lit?
Wait,
ever?
weren't you arguing one time that they didn't have soap back then?
No, I said why didn't God give people soap sooner?
Oh, sooner. Okay, because they did have soap.
Wait, what do you mean God gave
soap.
people soap
Yeah.
sooner? I didn't know God gave people soap at all. I thought that was
Exactly.
In the Bible, they had soap.
He's given out all these he's given out all these rules for hygiene,
But
but he
not
didn't
soap.
give anybody soap.
You could have gave out some Axe body spray with the loaves and fishes. I'm just saying.
Right?
Dr. Cross, like, at least I'm rubbing alcohol.
Okay, so
Yeah, there you go.
Steve, fuck your Hanukkah, because according
Anti-Semite.
Because according to Wikipedia, the earliest surviving candles originated in Han, China at around 200 BC.
In
What
your
was it
face.
based on? Fat? Animal fat, probably?
We used to have
No,
oil lamps
no.
back then. What the fuck?
Chinese were a whale fat.
Well, yeah. Blubber.
It's not Han
Spermaceti.
dynasty?
So, Doc, I wonder why God didn't say, "Hey, here's marijuana. Smoke this, and then you will see Jesus."
Maybe he did.
Yeah,
Maybe that's
hey,
the burning bush.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
what is it? The stoned ape hypothesis. You know.
Oh
Genesis
God.
1:12.
I gotta run, Steve. I'm
All right,
all
man.
out
I
of
know
time.
you got
gotta
to prep
start
for your
getting
show.
people- Yeah.
I will end this before then. I guarantee it, and send my big crowd. You know, because I get thousands and thousands and millions of people watching this.
Millions.
Millions of people over to your.
And they
your
all
thing.
do everything he says, so they'll all go over there as soon as he tells them to.
They don't do shit that I tell them. I swear to God, man. I am the
Exactly.
world's
I'm going to
worst
VTW after this.
YouTuber when it comes to that.
I'll ask.
You
Please,
ask.
guys, come on over to my stream after this stream is over. I will ask nicely. Please
They'll
and
listen to
thank
you. What I don't.
I'll
whatever.
watch. I,
The link is in the video description, so it's already there. So what I recommend, go tab it now and have it ready to go. Because I have a tab that's pinned up here. Yeah.
Bye.
Later, buddy.
I love Mikey.
Yeah. No. By the way,
Steve,
Smitty, I
stop telling
don't
us what
really
to
accept
do.
the stoned ape theory either, but it is.
It's funny.
I love the stoned ape theory. It's
Yeah, I
great.
mean, wouldn't that be kind of cool?
Stoned ape.
Can you
Stoned ape.
imagine this?
I
Can you
mean, we
imagine
can talk
what?
about epigenetics, maybe.
Well, can you imagine one day an ape just walking around, find a magic mushroom, get some psilocybin, and goes, "Man, I'm self-aware."
But it's incredibly
Why not?
interesting, like how, like when you're on psilocybin, you see all the things are like all related and everything's the same, and like even rocks are breathing, and like
What?
you get this like image I see under microscope.
That's almost like
that the world-
panpsychism.
That must be something that people with predisposed beliefs had, because I've done shrooms quite a few times and have never felt anything like that.
Well,
For me,
never
it's like
felt
being
like the-
stoned on
the atoms
weed,
and
just a little bit more intense visually and euphorically. That's how I would describe it. A more intense euphoria than what cannabis can deliver, but something akin to that, where you can still hold a conversation and I wouldn't drive or anything like that, but you can still, walk around. If you want to go for a walk, have conversations with people. I mean, it's not like you're couch bound unless you do like a heroic dose or something like that.
It depends how much you take.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing like heroic doses.
Yeah, I don't know if he's taking enough or not too much. We haven't figured that out yet.
Walk around.
But there's,
I've dragged myself on the floor, sir.
but what he's talking about is called contextualism, and this is why like people that take DMT, a lot of them will seem to have similar experiences. However, do you think, as a medical professional, do you think that a lot of these experiences are actually more along the lines of constructivism that is based upon biological things in the brain? Because we're all biologically similar in the brain. So if we have these physical constructs in the brain, makes sense that because of the way the chemicals interact with us, we might actually see very similar things just because we are hardwired to see these types of things. That's more of a constructivist or neurotheological type of approach.
Yeah,
to
and I think the construct part, like our mind constructing the reality part, goes away the more you take, or like with things that are strong, like DMT, and that's probably what's hardwired into us, which is very beautiful and interesting, right?
I would totally try it.
I've done X-ray crystallography and done molecular models, and that's kind of the stuff I see, like when I'm under, the psychedelic influence. So
you see those structures. You see similar structures. So
below.
Yeah,
right.
Above, so below. That's a good reference, by the way.
Yeah. I don't think witchcraft
did you ever dabble in Wiccanism
either?
Have you ever dabbled in Wiccanism?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm indigenous Black out of the South. Like they do hoodoo, which is not really religious at all. Hoodoo. It's like hoodoo, like
hoodoo you do.
Half your medicines probably came from there. And peppermint still works for your cold. Peppermint tea, Like,
no, I think a lot of natural things definitely work. Look, I bought aspirin the other day. I literally bought aspirin the other day. I mean, how much more natural can you get?
I would consider myself still like kind of atheist, though, right?
I just want to backtrack for a second on Steve's tweet here about FTFE, just for a second, because I was just scrolling through the replies. There are 3 brand new fake accounts with no profiles, no fucking anything that are commenting on it, and it's like,
oh god.
Someone's
it's so funny that all these people will make
bro.
fake accounts, and yet they're the moral, they're the arbiters of morality. They're the ones that thinking they're doing something, high and mighty. I don't use fake accounts. My Twitter has been the same Twitter I've had for fucking years. My Facebook has been the same Facebook I've had for fucking years.
I think it's really funny that just the subject matter that you're talking about, and then 3 fake accounts, boom, 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 that are clearly like, they've just been made. They have no followers. They have
cowards.
No pictures, like brand new, obviously not like a previous account of an actual person. They're just like a sock, or they're just an additional. It's like throw out whatever nonsense they want,
But look what happens when you stick your neck out. Like I follow Dr. Cross on Twitter, and I've seen how she has tried to defend certain things, and she goes about doing it. I don't think anything violates terms of service. I don't know if there was a coordinated attack, or I don't know if there was an AI thing in there. But either way,
you know what it was? It was the white woman that was explaining to a bunch of Black women that we do not address our elders as Miss so-and-so in California.
I saw that tweet, and I like that tweet.
I saw that.
And I was like, can you please stop saying that? I live in California. I was raised to... It's actually a complex thing because my mom's white, and she does not like to be addressed that way, but she had to recognize people weren't saying Miss her name because they thought of themselves as slaves or something, because she's white, right? She thought it was weird. It's because her daughters are Black that they are going to recognize her elderness by calling her Miss so-and-so. It's just something we do. I mean,
it's a cultural thing. One of the things that I found was really weird. So I visited.
They have a different way to address people of elder status,
I visited the States, and I don't know if it's just where I live in Canada, because I'm in Southern Ontario, but when I went and visited the States, everybody was saying like sir and ma'am or madam or whatever, and I was just like, I was ordering from McDonald's, and people called me Miss, and I was like,
that's normative for me, man.
That's weird.
We don't do that in Canada. In Canada, it's just like, here's your food. Thanks, bye.
But I'm military. We call everybody sir, and even ma'am. Even in the military, a female officer is called sir.
Well, the thing is, it's like it was just like such a passive thing that like people did in like at a restaurant, at like a fast food joint. Everybody was calling everybody sir and ma'am, and I was like, what is this? In Canada, if I go and walk into a McDonald's, they say, hey, can I take your order? They don't say, hello, miss, may I take your order? There's just like this whole
interaction that doesn't happen. So you're telling me if I go to Canada, I'm not going to get called buddy by everybody or friend?
You're actually most likely to be called that, but you need to go to a bar, not a McDonald's.
Now, sometimes
I got one for you.
Okay.
So public transport. I live in a big city. Well, big enough. I was getting up to get ready to go off on my stop, right? And the bus driver, hit the brakes like some bus drivers do, and it jerked the bus, and I apparently bumped into someone I didn't realize I bumped into. And she goes, "Can you say excuse me?" I was like, "Sorry, I didn't know I hit you."
Yeah, it's like this perceived level of like politeness that you're not being polite according to my
God, standards. You get that from boomers
it's
all the time.
It's a lot of moral outrage, right? But here's the thing: like sometimes,
I'll give you one.
Well, hang on. Sometimes
I'll give you one.
Hang on. Sometimes I think Look, when a person calls me sir or something like that, it depends on the circumstances. Sometimes I don't mind, but a lot of times I'm not really comfortable with it, and I'm certainly not comfortable when people call me Mr. McRae. Out there, I'm like, no, that was my dad. I'm Steve. Call me Steve. Now,
I guess I know what I'm doing all the time.
No,
now.
you can call me Mr. Cray. Anybody online can call me Mr. Cray. I don't care. I'm talking about in real life. When I go somewhere and I go to like a bank or like this, and they refer to you as by your surname. It's weird to me, right? Because my dad was Mr. McRae. I'm Steve, and so you can call me anything you want. I don't give a shit.
And people get really resistant. I'll say to my gender neutral pronoun, like using doctor instead, they like totally lose their mind.
I love when you say,
like,
"Hey,
my partner's doctor also," right? So like if he doesn't use it though. But when I use it, it's really weird. Like they're just like,
I love when you say
ma'am,
it's
and I'm
doctor.
like, no, I'm not a ma'am, not a ma'am. Sorry,
I'm a doctor. Yeah,
which is fine.
You'll get it. It's okay.
I love calling people by doctor if they have a legit PhD, right?
Yeah,
if they're Hovind, hell, no, never going to happen.
Of course not.
I've just never been gender identified. Even my parents were like, just be you, like.
Yeah,
I see that title as an accomplishment, though.
Okay, what about
a matter of respect? Yeah.
What about people who have their kids call them by their first name instead of mom and dad?
Nothing wrong with that. Shit.
I don't do it.
The weird thing is when people still do the old like Victorian era thing where they make their children call them mother and father instead of mom and dad.
Weird.
That's
well,
just,
like my daughter calls her stepdad by his first name for the most part.
Right.
She uses dad. They know that daddy's kind of reserved for me.
I had a stepfather that demanded that I called him dad.
Oh, so you can't demand anything from that. You can't do that.
Yeah.
I mean, he succeeded by bullying, but whatever.
That's not the right way to go, right?
On my phone.
It'd be weird to call my mom.
We had this like funny tradition back home in college in India where we were specifically told by our seniors to call them sir and ma'am, and that's how we would address them. Yeah. And
senpai.
Senpai, yeah. It was no, actually. So what does senpai mean? Actually, does it mean
it's senior? It's senior. Yeah, it's like they're
senior. Yeah. But we have specific terms in our culture to call someone who's elder than you. So for a male, it will be bhaiya, and for a female, it would be didi. It means someone elder to you, an elder sibling. So that's what we were brought up with, like when we were in school and stuff. So that's what you call your seniors. But when we came in college, we were specifically told, well, we are your seniors professionally now, so you are supposed to call us sir and ma'am, not even by their first names or their surnames, sir and ma'am, and that's how it went for 4 years of engineering college.
Yeah, no, I get that. Like, look, I mean, the military, we're so indoctrinated to call people by sir or ma'am, and I have no problem with it. I still do that to this day. Even people that are much younger than me, I just feel like it's an appropriate way to respond. I think it's cordial. I think it's a social thing that we have that's showing that you have a respect for the person, no matter their age. I don't think it matters whether they're older or younger. I call a lot of people sir, and I have no problem with it. I prefer that.
Usually, the only reason, I mean, military as well. Back Navy, Steve. Hey,
I know. Go team.
I used to do that, but now it's more or less only when I'm addressing certain people, and it's usually because of the place where I work, or it's to get someone's attention. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Well, when you're working, for example, like in retail, you usually end up calling customers.
Well, that's what I meant when I went in Canada. No, you don't.
Yeah,
but when I went
really
to America,
everybody,
it was like just part of the culture, and it's like the thing is like some things are going to have like a far deeper, richer cultural heritage, and some things are just localized, right? So you'll have like something that's like this is historically Mexican culture. This comes from this particular place and has a very long history, deep history. You've got Native Americans, you've got Black people, you've got people in China and Japan that have very rich and deep historical context to some of their cultural expectations and standards about how people are referred to or addressed. You don't get to be like somebody from outside of that group to tell that group that they're wrong, because everybody has their own lived experience, and it's going to be built on things that you might not know about from eons and eons ago. And so like you can't just go around policing that everybody. This is what I mean. You don't go around policing a culture that you're not a part of because you don't understand understand it because you're going to say that, oh no, everybody has to be accepted. Therefore, to be accepted, everybody needs to behave in a way that I tell them to, or that I expect them to. It's the complete opposite. It's the opposite of actual acceptance, which means, hey, listen, I'm part of the out group here. I don't know. So I don't get a say about what they decide is good for them or right for them because it doesn't have anything to do with me. It's not my business. Now, if some of them start saying, hey, no, listen, this is a problem within our community, you only step in if they ask for your help.
By the way, to go back real quick, full circle to the whole Fight to Flat Earth things, all the cockroaches are coming out now. Moderate C word.
Shocking.
Fiona Robertson, that high guy. All the cockroaches scurrying out global silliness when they see something they can go scurry. They are like the legitimate word. They are like the
out her wee little head.
It's so predictable when cockroaches will start coming out, and yet there are people. Hang on. There are people going. Hang on. There are people right now going. Don't tag me in this. I do not get into your fucking war with Steve. You guys are all fucking sociopaths. They're telling people don't involve them. What they're doing now, they're being harassed now. I'm going. See, I don't have to say shit about these people. They do it to themselves by harassing people if you dare speak out against them.
And it's
It's bizarre.
My Twitter.
Fuck you. I'm gonna go
account
Ducks
is
Crafty
banned for
Keela.
that.
Okay, team.
My 10-year-old Twitter account is now banned because I was telling a white California chick that she had no idea what we call our elders.
Are you gonna fight that shit?
She doesn't know what she's talking about.
Like, we had a good run. I had Occupy, BLM, like through all that. I really didn't get banned.
Actually, I'm surprised you didn't get banned before that.
It just boggles my mind that something like that can be considered to be a TOS violation. How is that TOS violation?
Wait.
I was being racially hateful when I said she was white.
Okay, hold up. A white woman tells a black woman how she should behave in her
many
own...
black women's conversation. There was about 8 of us on the thread.
Right. Okay, so a white woman wanders into a bar and tells all the black people in the bar, "Fuck you! You have to do things the way I tell you to."
No,
and when the
she was
black
telling us
people
what we actually do because she's never heard it because she's never been
because she's not part of that community. Oh wow, go figure. And the black people are wrong for telling off the white lady. I was like, you came to the wrong neighborhood.
Oh my god.
I mean, yeah, it's like my mom is 73. She understands these like simple.
And you weren't even wrong by any stretch of imagination. You were actually pointing out a very cultural thing.
I told her to shut the up, but I mean, is that really hateful?
You can do that in Twitter.
Shut up! You don't know. Like, you live in California. That's nice, but
you see what I mean? Though
black people don't live.
Twitter's not allowed to bitch about being hateful. It's got kitty porn on it. Shut the fuck up.
There's tons of porn on Twitter. It's actually kind of surprising,
really
I guess, because I wouldn't think.
You know what? At one time, I had no idea. I saw something come on my timeline at one time. I remember when I only had Twitter since like 2016, and I remember the first time I actually saw something, I was like, "Is this even allowed on this platform?" I was ignorant back then.
Cam girls.
Yeah, cam girls. Well, somebody wants Paige Cheshire to call him daddy, and I'm like, that's her OnlyFans thing. You're on the wrong.
My first message on Twitter was "Show me your feet." So
there you go.
For a long time.
I had one of my first Instagram messages I ever got was a guy asking me to blow my nose in rags and mail them to him.
Did you?
$50.
Listen, I was working with him to get that sorted out, but then he started being weird, and I was like, nah.
Oh, yeah.
How much was it?
Actually, it was pretty. He was talking pretty decent, but it was like I didn't mind and was like going to do it for him, but he got pushy about it, and I was like, okay, now I don't appreciate you imposing yourself on my life. Fuck off.
Oh,
yeah. They didn't want to.
It's not very professional.
If it makes you feel better, they didn't want to pay for my foot pictures, so.
Oh, well, I mean, then what are they even asking for? Choosing beggars, am I right?
I mean, I'm sure they would have paid a little, but I asked for a lot, so yeah.
Cheshire, help me out here. I don't understand what
$150 per toe.
I don't understand what people making something out of my joke, which I thought was a funny joke that was on my Facebook from years ago, and I just put it on Twitter. about this.
So two things: either people don't realize you're joking, or people are going along with the fact that you're joking and joking that it's real to be like, oh no, this poor guy.
They're playing along.
Joke.
You're playing along
Either
with
they're
the
playing along or they don't get it that you were joking. Either one of both.
Okay, first of all, I don't even think they're that stupid to think that they think that was actually a real comment. It's clearly a joke. But I don't understand because it's funny. I thought it was funny. I don't get why they don't. I mean, it's just weird to me, right? I don't know, man.
I don't know. I was with the team.
If it's a bad
thing,
joke, that would be different. And they'd be like, "Hey, Steve's joke wasn't funny." But
everybody has the same kind of comedy.
Okay, but you don't.
They're just a troll trying to cause
Who
trouble and
spends
just say,
days
"Oh my
mocking
god."
somebody's joke? That's just psychopathic.
Listen, I make fun of other people's jokes all the time, usually because they're not funny.
For days?
No, not usually.
That's psychopathy.
So there's something with Team Skeptic. I have a poll that I want to run on Twitter, and I want to run it by you guys, and you can tell me what you think about this poll. And I was gonna say, okay, so Kyle and Team, because Team Skeptic has now committed federal crime via doxing and threats and harassment, right? So if he gets arrested and Kyle gets arrested and they end up in a jail cell together, who's the bottom bitch?
Well, clearly Fight the Flat Earth now, but
that's interesting.
But Fight hasn't committed a crime yet, as far as we know.
different state. Oh, they do live in the same. No, he doesn't live in the same state.
No, they don't live in the same state. But that doesn't really matter because people get moved around jails all the time. That's not necessarily the case. Although I did think that it would be really funny if. So there's been a lot of people who have speculated about whether or not there are drugs involved with either of these people and like how well they are. And so if the police show up to arrest Kyle, or if the police show up to talk to Team Skeptic, if they happen to find drugs in the vicinity or not. I don't know.
Well, weren't we just talking about the legalization of drugs?
We're talking about decriminalizing them.
Yeah,
just because I think they shouldn't be that they shouldn't be illegal doesn't mean they aren't.
Yeah, and the thing with drugs is this. Look, the people that get hooked on drugs and that get themselves off of it, I have the utmost respect for in the world. That is not easy. Former drug addicts, I respect immensely. And I'm sure my critics will give me shit for that. Oh, look at Steve, he's proud of drug addicts. No, I am proud of drug addicts that kick the habit. That is something that is very difficult to do, and they should get props for it. It shouldn't be thrown in their face. However, when they're a drug addict that keeps going back to the drugs, then using that excuse for their behavior, that's not acceptable.
That's fucked, man.
It's complete. There's a huge difference to be made
I'm
there.
just saying about the potential consequences of the actions that these people are taking. That it's just like, just because this or this, there could be fallout of this, and this.
Well, hopefully, like I said, the hearing here coming up here, we are pushing obviously for civil arrest, right? A civil contempt arrest. We don't think that we need to wait for a criminal contempt hearing to have that arrest warrant. It just makes no sense because we want him on the civil contempt first and then criminal afterwards if he doesn't show, which we kind of figure he's not. The only reason why he would show would be if he thinks he can bullshit the judge, and he knows now we know where he's at, and he knows that they will come out and get him. I mean, he has to be well aware of that. So, I mean, if he wants to alleviate that, and by the way, when the police,
you're threatening to dox Kyle Curtis now, what the fuck?
When the police are coming out, or the sheriffs are coming out to get you, bad things tend to happen a lot of times. Things can happen, and if he resist arrest.
Don't tase me, bro.
Oh, I would if you got.
On that note, I'm gonna go get the barbecue.
I would love to see that video if it happens.
I'm not going to say I would make my
hell yeah,
that would make my day.
So awesome.
Are you leaving?
Hey,
wait.
Yes, Juneteenth is like in LA, actually right down the street, and it's just like calling us. So it's time to eat.
Do your thing. Do your thing. By the way, thank you for joining us. I'm going to be wrapping this up anyways, and I'm going to be listening to Mikey's channel. So, anyways, always a pleasure.
Barbecue.
We'll get with you later on, and we'll make some plans. But always a pleasure. And go ahead. Let's
good
spend
to
time
see you all.
with y'all. Yeah, always a pleasure.
He's going to be on in less than a half an hour, so.
Yeah, we'll be wrapping this up because again, I'm not going to step on.
I was just saying, not that I think that drugs should be illegal because prohibition doesn't work, so it doesn't make any sense to have them be illegal. But if you are currently caught with drugs right now because you're getting arrested or the police are showing up for something else, got a different problem on your hands, and maybe you shouldn't be threatening people and committing crime.
Yeah. Well, what was that phrase again? Throwing stones when your own houses are made of glass. Like, what was that? Yeah.
Those who live in a glass house do not throw stones. Is that the one you're talking about, Manya?
Yeah. Someone was blaring that off, isn't it? On a channel.
He's Canadian too, wasn't he?
I think I heard a really angry beaver yelling about that one day.
A beaver squeaking angry, if I might say.
I'm pretty sure beavers hiss.
Okay.
Have you ever heard what a beaver sounds like?
No.
You need to Google that. You need to YouTube that right now. Like, we want to see your real life reaction to hearing what a beaver sounds like for the first time. Just YouTube beaver sounds. Beaver yelling.
What does beaver sound like? Okay.
Yeah. Play a video.
Hold on. Let me see.
Manya's face is gonna be great.
See. What has happened is Manya's got the high speed internet,
Hold on, let me just share this.
She hasn't caught up with it yet.
She doesn't know what she doesn't know what to do with actual internet.
I'm jelly. I'm mad on fiber.
There we go. Okay. I don't know if you're gonna hear the sound.
We're gonna get
demonetized.
demonetized. I'm just showing beaver on my. Whoa! What's going on?
That's the sound a beaver makes.
Is that a beaver mating? Is that in heat?
No, it's just yelling.
Oh.
It's just yelling.
Yeah, it's annoying.
Beaver noises. Not the sounds I remember beavers making, but whatever. It's been a while.
Listen, it's right in front of you on the screen. It says,
"Yeah, I'm looking at it."
A beaver make beaver sounds.
Yeah. Okay.
I can try another one. That's a baby beaver for you.
This is what a baby beaver sounds like.
They're cute. Dog's just going, what?
Hey, Chesh, take a look at your Discord server and shit posting.
All right.
I gotta figure out my password to Discord. I keep forgetting my password to Discord, and I don't know why, and it just doesn't work.
That's the only place you can.
Well, because you have a web-based Discord server, and then you have the application, and the web-based will keep the information. And I don't know why I keep changing, and I don't know why I have to keep going in and do the two-party authentication to log in. I don't know. It's weird, and I can't stand it. Discord sucks, but it's the only way I communicate with
Steve
Manya,
just is not good at it.
I'm not! Get off my lawn.
He's good at Twitter, though, but he has no.
Oh, I'm good at Twitter.
Concept of fucking Discord.
I know Twitter.
Steve is okay at Twitter.
I'm passable as Twitter.
I have higher standards than Nikki does.
Yeah, I just blocked some accounts that just popped up like today, kind of thing. It's like,
are you talking about the three I was just referring to?
I'm like, here's my rule of thumb: if your account is not even 6 months older, you're going to get blocked pretty quickly, unless.
And the only thing that you've ever tweeted about is like how much you hate me. You're like,
not even a response, just blocked. Go make another fake. Just go make another account blocked. Yeah, what the hell?
Listen, Steve, I don't know why you don't just negotiate with these terrorists and just bow to their demands.
Well, the nice thing is, though, I don't even have to say fuck all. Everybody knows the stories by now, and I told the Entreat Feline after the 25th that she has to promise me that on Twitter threads I will never again address any of the financial fuckery from the Non Sequitur show because I've explained it enough, and that if anyone wants to go back and review it, they can go to that thread or they can message me directly. But I'm not going to ever explain that shit ever again because these people have gone out of their way to distort historical facts.
Well, so there's another thing about it, right? And because we're so close to getting the show back and having this legality be done with, so close to Kyle getting arrested. We're weeks out at this point. We're days out at this point. And so we're in a situation where it's like, of course they're all going to flip out and say anything that they can to get as much info, because all of their videos are on a timer. Mm-hmm. They have an expiry date. All of their shit. So like my videos reading the court case don't have an expiry date because the court case is what it is. But all their opining bullshit and lying comes to completely non-existence anymore. It's completely worthless. As soon as the case is over.
Well, they
so
also
what they're
delete their videos and they make them unlisted. Yeah.
They're kind of, yeah, exactly. The Grim Reaper is coming for this situation. So like they're just trying to squeeze every bit of drama juice that they can out of it, as well as trying to do as much damage to Steve as possible while they have the opportunity to do so, since they're running out of time.
Absolutely right. But here's the thing, and this is the worst part of it all, is that the internet tends to forget the history, and then the people that have been around. Well, I mean, to a certain degree, there's new people coming around, but the older people that have been, I mean, I've seen this happen. Some people that I don't remember some of the names, they go, look, I've been around 5 fucking years looking at this shit, and everything you've just told me is absolute bullshit. Because they're thinking, oh, look at this person I could try to sway, and they're like, no, I already know what you're telling me is bullshit. Anything else that comes out of your mouth at this point, I'm going to disbelieve, pretty much, or at least
the
unbelieve.
People that hang around, the kind of the more prevalent people who push this shit, don't even like those people. They don't like each other.
They don't like each other.
The glue that holds these people together is their hate for Steve. It's the common enemy thing we were talking about earlier today. They hate Steve, but none of them have any actual fucking friends.
Yeah, I mean, nobody. I don't think any of them like any of each other, like personally.
They don't like each other, no.
Yeah, I mean, but correct me if I'm wrong.
When you start associating yourself with, consciously associating yourself with racists, yeah.
And people that will actively threaten violence towards people, that's disturbing.
You also mean
will promise to promote racists on their channels.
I was about ready to say
they have a racist history.
I was about ready to say, oh, you mean platforming a racist?
Wait, here's the thing. I don't have a problem bringing a racist on to show why racism is bad, right? I mean, that's absolutely what you should have a platform for. You bring on people you disagree with and show, look, your opinion is bad. Your racism is bad, and you bring a racist on to demonstrate that. There's
a difference between
not give them support, not promote them and go, look, here's a racist, here, go to his channel because they're awesome. No, you don't do that kind of shit.
Oh, that's what they're doing, actually. That's what they're doing.
Well,
they're
bullshit,
like, oh, you're going to be my co-host on my channel.
I mean, there's a time and place to platform different things because you are expounding upon or you're debunking, or there is a way to do that. You can bring somebody who's
on the other side, I guess. Yeah.
Right. So, like, take Gary for instance. I had Gary on for 6 hours. Do I agree with Gary? No, but I sat there and I heard out what he had to say and I gave him pushback, and we cycled around for 6 hours about why this isn't okay, showed him his friends doing it, and then he tried to explain why it was okay when they did it.
It demonstrated that he had no solid position.
Well, what it means is that he does have a solid position. He does not think this is right. But the reason why all of these people seem like they're hypocrites is because they are, but also because they don't like each other.
Yeah, I agree.
These people do not like each other because they know that the people that they're defending or are guilty of this behavior, and they know that, but they have to deny it publicly, because if they don't deny it publicly, they get caught in the trap that this is the crabs in a bucket.
Yeah, and they'll start going after those people as well. They know they've seen it. They'll know. A lot of these people know that they will be the victim at some point if they speak up. Oh, you got muted.
Right. As soon as Keon stopped going after us, didn't even side with us about shit. As soon as he stopped going after us, he started getting death threats.
And I have not said one word to Keon, and I don't intend to. I don't. Not one word to him. He can do whatever the hell he wants.
Who cares?
There's no redemption there with me. However, I have not gone after him. I've not said anything about him. So I don't. Why people have gone after him now seems really strange. But I've not said one thing or another. I'm not promoting Keon, so I don't know why they're going after him. But yeah, you're right. You're exactly right. They
because he left their group.
Yeah, and what do you think happened to us? We left their group, and that's why they've been stalking us for 5 fucking years. We left them. And I'm sorry. Wait.
For mental health.
I'm sorry. According to Laura, they left us. Okay, fine. Go your way. You left us. You left us. Go. Keep going. Why do you? If you left us, why the fuck you keep coming back? You're like a stockish ex. It's weird. It's like, okay, fine. Left us, left you. We left them. But it's like, okay, you want to believe otherwise? I don't give a shit. Stay the fuck away.
Laura is heartbroken that you don't miss them, Steve.
Jess, check your Twitter DMs because I just sent the perfect example of this.
Yeah, I don't trust Keon at all twisting sides. Again, there's no redemption arc for me. But anyways, we are wrapping this up. Give us plenty of time to head over to see Mikey plus wanted some food. So give your last words. Real quick. Brandon, you got anything you want to say real quick?
No, I just made noise, but okay.
All right, thank you for joining us, Brandon.
Okay.
Appreciate it, man. Leo, you got anything?
Yeah, you should check out.
No, I'm kidding.
You should check out my friend's YouTube channel, Answers in Atheism. We have a fun time over there.
Nice.
You can check out my channel too if you want to.
All right, Manya, my dear, with your wonderful new camera and setup.
I'm eating chips. Nothing. Just like I'm back. I'm here.
Are you back for a while?
For a while, yeah.
I mean,
Then
you
I'll
do
go
you.
back
I mean,
when the studies start again. Yeah, so I'll go back. But yeah, I enjoyed this today. This was so awesome.
This was enjoyable. I love these types of discussions, and I think they're informative.
I don't know what about you later, maybe about Sweet Heathen. You
Oh.
yeah.
Right?
Who?
Don't trouble.
Who?
Yeah. Who?
In trouble.
Yeah, I'm worried about Manya putting me in trouble. Okay. Nikki, got anything?
Just you guys can go do you. I'm gonna be on VTW in like 40 minutes or so.
Say hi to them. Say hi to them. By the way, let me ask you if I can. Is AT2 allowing even team or flight to Flat Earth on VTW any longer? Smart.
As far as I know, they either left or they.
Gee, I wonder why.
Because the VTW was supposed to be originally. It was like, look, put all these things aside. Military is military, and I understood the want to do that. Unfortunately, it doesn't work in practice. You just can't. There's some people like I can't associate with people like that. I will never again associate with Flight to Flat Earth because his true colors have come out, and there's just a dishonorable thing there. Same with the uni. When I realized uni was dishonorable, that bridge was burned. That's how I operate. I have to operate that way. And so it's unfortunate, but I can't be around those people. So, all right. Last but not least, Cheshire. And by the way, Art Cheshire, are we going to be doing this on JC?
Yeah, we got a bunch of stuff to talk about on Judgment Call. So call in on Monday. It would be really funny if Fight called in and explained his fucking bullshit.
Here's the thing, though. Okay. So let me ask you.
I would take that call. Let
me ask you this. I cannot associate with Flat. I will not talk to him. It's just my moral code, and you know how I am.
Yeah.
However, if he called in, and he wanted to just talk to you, I wouldn't talk to him. I would have no problem with that whatsoever. I wouldn't even encourage it. I don't care. But I couldn't. I'm not going to talk to him.
I think something like this is fresh enough that I would value the opportunity to be like, what the fuck are you thinking?
but you're fine with that then. He's not going to call in, but hypothetically.
He's not going to call in.
Of course not.
Pussy. Like, we already know he's a fucking coward because he didn't do this shit until after he blocked us both.
Right. That was a bitch move I've ever seen. Look, man, I'm sorry. Like I said, man, I at least told Team Skeptic, when I'm ready to talk to you about this, I will come to you directly. And I haven't made any thing whatsoever. I haven't criticized Team at all, hardly. I mean, very, very minimal. But nothing.
The closest thing you said was like, this isn't appropriate, and I stand by Manya. She doesn't deserve to be threatened.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's the only thing you said, but you didn't say anything like about Team specifically yet. Now you may or may not in the future. I don't know if you will.
But I plan to talk to him first if I want to, because I told him I would, and I keep my word.
Yeah, I have a different way of going about things,
Absolutely.
and that's mostly just because like Steve and I are just different. But also because like
Shocking.
If you do something publicly and say something publicly, you've already given your side. That is you giving your side. There is no additional reason for me to have to go to you in private to get more clarification. If you said something or didn't say something that you ought to have, then you should address that differently. So if I come to you and I criticize you publicly about the public stuff you said, then and there was something that I missed or you missed, then address it, dipshit. Don't bitch that I needed to talk to you in private about the public shit you fucking already said.
What would happen if you wanted, let's say you thought Manya said something that she never said, and then you go back and you start criticizing her in public for something she never did?
Well, yeah,
Which,
exactly.
by the way, which they have done. They have literally done this.
Right. There's a difference between.
They never came to you. Of course not.
They never asked me anything. What was that about?
Yeah.
Nothing. And then
You mean that shit that they demand everybody else do?
Right.
Yeah.
It's hypocrisy
And then
is thy
they
name.
wanted to apologize in private if I give in to their conditions.
Which was
I'm
bullshit.
like, I don't negotiate with terrorists. Fuck off.
Their condition. Okay, and I'm gonna leave you guys with this because I'm gonna end this. I'm gonna leave you guys with this.
I didn't get my last word. This is bullshit.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, finish.
No, say what you're gonna say. I'll do the last thing.
Okay.
What you need to say.
You get the last one.
No, Chesh can have the last word. So Manya, an apology needs to be sincere and it should be conditional. They were trying. I heard that team was trying to at least some way make reparations with you and apologize, but on his terms, on his conditions. Bullshit. Yeah. And I would tell you, I'm so proud of you for not falling for that bullshit. That was smart. That was the most intelligent thing to do in that case.
Absolutely. With someone who threatened to contact my employer. Why would I do that?
Bravo. See,
I'm not stupid.
Why? Okay, can I ask why they were coming after you to begin with?
So I have two lovely videos for you to watch.
Yeah, we don't have time. We don't have time for the details, but okay.
I can TLDR you once we're out of here.
All right, Chester, give us the last word so we can get out of here and go watch Mikey stuff. We love Mikey.
Fuck you. I'm gonna go dox crafty Keela. Bye, everybody.